Before we get into today's rare coin story, make sure you hit subscribe and stay with me till the end, because what I'm about to reveal might completely change the way you look at the coins in your pocket right now. Now imagine this, a simple coin, something most people would overlook, something that may have passed through hundreds of hands without a second thought. Yet hidden inside it is a story, a mystery, and a value that could surprise even seasoned collectors. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1979 South African 20 cents coin, but not in the usual way. We're going deeper into what makes it powerful, desirable, and in some cases, extremely valuable. Picture South Africa in 1979, a time of change, tension, and transition. Coins minted during this era weren't just currency. They were symbols of a country's identity, its economy, and its political environment. The 20 cents coin from this year carries more than just its face value. It carries history, craftsmanship, and in certain rare conditions, serious collector demand. At a first glance, the coin might seem ordinary. It has a clean, structured design with strong lines and a classic metallic feel. But the real story begins when you look closer. Details in the engraving, the sharpness of the edges, the condition of the surface. These small things separate a common coin from a collector's dream. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Not every 1979 20 cents coin is valuable. In fact, most are still worth only a modest amount. But, and this is a big but, there are specific versions of this coin that stand out. Coins that were struck differently. Coins that were preserved in near-perfect condition. Coins that have unique characteristics that only trained eyes usually notice. Collectors, especially experienced men in the 55 to 65 range, understand one thing very clearly. Value is never just about age. It's about rarity, condition, and story. And this coin has all three. If you know what to look for, let's talk about condition first. A coin that has never been circulated, one that still holds its original shine, its crisp details, and zero wear. That's where the real value begins. These are often called uncirculated coins, and they can command significantly higher prices than coins that have been used in everyday transactions. Then comes rarity. Some 1979 20 cents coins were minted in lower quantities or have slight variations, tiny differences in lettering, alignment, or metal composition. These are the coins that collectors hunt for. These are the coins that can turn an ordinary collection into something truly valuable. And then there's the human factor, the emotion, the chase, the pride of ownership. For many collectors, especially those who have spent decades building their collections, finding a rare coin like this isn't just about money. It's about achievement. It's about holding a piece of history in your hand and knowing that you recognized its worth when others didn't. Now let's bring this closer to home. How many coins have you handled in your life? How many times have you received change and never looked twice? What if one of those coins had hidden value? What if something sitting in a drawer right now could be worth far more than you ever imagined? This is why coins like the 1979 South African 20 cents are so powerful. They remind us that value is often hidden in plain sight. They challenge us to pay attention, to observe, and to appreciate the details. Another factor that drives interest in this coin is its connection to a specific era. Coins from the late 1970s in South Africa represent a unique period, and collectors who focus on historical themes often seek them out. This adds another layer of demand, especially for coins that are well-preserved or have unique features. And let's not forget the craftsmanship. The minting process, the precision, the artistry, it all contributes to the coin's appeal. When you hold a high-quality example of this coin, you can feel the difference. The weight, the texture, the sharpness, it's all there. Now here's something most people don't realize. The market for coins is constantly changing. Values rise and fall based on demand, rarity discoveries, and collector interest. A coin that might seem average today could become highly sought after tomorrow. That's why knowledge is power in this field. Experienced collectors don't just collect, they study, they compare, They learn the small details that make a big difference. And when they find something special, they act.so. If you ever come across a 1979 South African 20 cents coin, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Check its condition. Look for anything unusual. Because sometimes, the difference between an ordinary coin and a valuable one is something only visible to those who pay attention. Now let's talk numbers, because I know that's what you've been waiting for. A standard 1979 South African 20 cents coin in circulated condition might only be worth a small amount, often close to its original value or slightly higher depending on demand. But when you step into the world of uncirculated coins, high-grade specimens, or rare variations, the value can rise significantly. To top-condition coins, especially those graded at the highest levels, can reach impressive prices in the collector market. And in extremely rare cases, where condition, rarity, and demand all align perfectly, the value of such a coin can climb into the thousands. Now here's the part that really captures attention. While most of these coins won't reach extreme figures, the idea of a coin potentially reaching extraordinary value, sometimes talked about in the range of millions in rare and exceptional circumstances, drives the passion behind collecting. It fuels the hunt. It keeps collectors searching, examining, and learning. Before we begin, take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel, because what you are about to hear is not just a story about a coin. It is a story about history, power, survival, and a silent object that has outlived empires, governments, and generations of men who once carried it in their pockets without ever knowing its true weight. Picture South Africa in the late 1980s. The world was tense. Politics were heavy. Economies were shifting. Men went to work early in the morning, lunch pails in hand, responsibility on their shoulders, building families and nations one hard day at a time. In 1988, in the middle of that pressure-filled era, a small coin entered circulation quietly. No ceremony, no applause, just metal, minted, stacked, and released into the world. The 20 cents coined at first glance, it looked ordinary. Modest in size, practical in design, meant for everyday use. It passed from hand to hand at grocery counters, bus stations, and corner shops. It paid for newspapers, bread, and simple comforts. Men carried it alongside keys and pocket knives, never suspecting that one day this very coin would become a subject of obsession, debate, and deep fascination. This coin was born in a time when South Africa was facing enormous internal and external pressure. Every object created during that period carries a fingerprint of tension and resilience. The 1988 20 cents coin is no exception. It represents an era where durability mattered, where nothing was made to be flashy, only to last. The metal composition was chosen for strength and economy. The strike was firm, intentional, and precise. This was not a decorative piece. It was built to survive circulation, friction, and time. For many men today, aged 55 and above, this coin triggers something deeper than money. It brings back memories of working days, paydays, and small but meaningful transactions. It reminds them of a world before digital screens, before cards and apps, when value was something you could feel in your hand. Weight mattered. Sound mattered. The sharp ring of metal hitting a counter was reassurance that something real had just changed hands. What makes the 1988 20 cents coin truly powerful is not just its age, but its context. Coins are historical witnesses. They do not speak, but they record. This particular year captures a nation standing on the edge of transformation. Decisions made during that time reshaped futures, and this small coin absorbed all of it silently, traveling through pockets of factory workers, businessmen, farmers, and soldiers alike. That as years passed, many of these coins disappeared. Some were lost. Some were melted. Some were forgotten in jars, drawers, or old jackets hanging in closets. But a select few survived in remarkable condition, unbent, unworn, almost untouched by time. And that is where the story shifts from memory to mystery. Collectors began to notice subtle details, slight variations in strike quality, minor differences invisible to the untrained eye, the sharpness of the edges, the clarity of the design. These details separate ordinary examples from legendary ones. For seasoned collectors, especially men who appreciate precision, craftsmanship, and rarity, this coin became a challenge. A hunt. What draws older men to coins like this is not hype. It is respect for endurance. A coin that survives decades earns its place. It does not ask for attention. It commands it quietly. Just like the men who lived through that era, the 20-cent coin of 1988 also represents discipline. Minting standards were strict. Production numbers were controlled. Errors were rare. That rarity, combined with historical timing, created a perfect storm for future value. Over time, whispers began. Stories circulated. Some said a few coins were struck differently. Some claimed special batches existed. Others spoke of private collections locked away, unseen by the public. And here is where emotion meets reality. Many men today realize they once held this coin. They may have spent it on coffee or transport. They may have dropped it into a drawer and forgotten it. The idea that something so small could later command global attention creates a powerful sense of reflection. It forces a question that resonates deeply with experienced minds. What else have we overlooked in life? This coin is not about luck. It is about timing, preservation, and understanding value beyond face numbers. It is about recognizing that history rewards patience. Those who kept, protected, and respected objects like this were not chasing profit. They were simply careful. And care, over decades, turns into fortune. As collectors aged, so did the coin. Fewer remained in pristine condition. Demand grew quietly, steadily, without noise. Serious collectors do not shout. They wait. They observe. They move only when certainty is absolute. That is how legends are built, not overnight, but over generations. Now, after decades of silence, the 1988 South African 20-cent coin stands as one of the most talked about pieces among elite circles. Not because it is flashy, not because it is large, but because it carries the weight of a nation's past in a form small enough to fit between two fingers. For men who understand craftsmanship, history, and the long game of value, this coin represents something rare in today's fast world: permanence. It reminds us that real worth does not announce itself. It waits. And now, as promised, here is the number that changes everything. Among the rarest preserved examples, tied to historical significance, condition, and collector demand, the value spoken in private circles reaches an astonishing figure. Before we dive in, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and join our community. Every week, we explore fascinating stories, rare collectibles, and the hidden treasures that many people overlook, but you won't want to miss a single one. So make sure you're subscribed. Now, imagine this: a small coin, barely noticeable in your pocket, something you might have tossed in a drawer decades ago, quietly sitting there while the world moved on. To most people, it's just another piece of metal, but for those who know, coins like this can tell a story of history, of economy, and a value that goes far beyond the price stamped on them. Today, we're focusing on one such coin, a 20-cent piece from 1975, South Africa. The first thing that hits you about this coin is its age. 1975, that's half a century ago. Think about what the world was like then. The music, the fashion, the politics, all a backdrop to the everyday life where this coin circulated. It's incredible to hold something that was in the hands of ordinary people so long ago, something that survived decades of history. Now, if you're like many men watching this, you might have grown up seeing coins like this in circulation, maybe in your father's or grandfather's wallet. There's a certain nostalgia attached to holding a coin from that era. But beyond nostalgia, there's something even more fascinating: rarity. Not all coins from that period have survived, and even fewer have survived in excellent condition. Collectors worldwide know this, and that knowledge drives value, sometimes far beyond what you might imagine. Let's talk about the coin itself. The 20 cents from 1975 features the iconic South African motifs that tell a story of the country's heritage at the time. It has a design that balances elegance with simplicity, a reminder of a period when craftsmanship in minting coins was a point of pride. The weight, the metallic composition, even the way the coin feels in your hand, All these little details contribute to why collectors treasure these pieces today. Now, here's something that often surprises people. A coin doesn't have to be rare in numbers alone to be valuable. Condition matters just as much. A coin that has maintained its luster, with sharp details and minimal wear, can command prices that seem astonishing. You might have one sitting in a drawer that looks ordinary to you, but in the right hands, it's extraordinary. You might be wondering, what makes this particular 1975 South African 20 cents so special? Well, there are a few factors. First, the minting numbers. Not every year's coins were produced in the same quantities, and 1975 had certain variations that make it a sought-after piece for collectors. Second, there's the story behind the era. This was a time of significant change in South Africa, politically, economically, and socially. Coins from this period carry a historical weight, a tangible connection to a world that existed decades ago. And here's another fascinating point. Coins often carry subtle errors or unique features that increase their value. Maybe it's a slightly off-center strike, an unusual color variation, or even a tiny misprint in the design. Collectors live for these anomalies because they turn an ordinary coin into a rare gem. The 1975 20-cent coin is known for having certain varieties that are especially prized, making it not just a collector's item, but a conversation starter and a centerpiece for any collection. Now, imagine sitting with friends or family, showing them a coin that looks simple at first glance, and then telling them the story behind it. Suddenly, this small piece of metal becomes a portal to the past, a tangible reminder of history, and a testament to patience and foresight. That's part of the thrill of collecting coins. What seems ordinary to one person can be priceless to another. For many men watching this, there's also the thrill of legacy. You think about passing something meaningful down to the next generation. Coins are perfect for this. They don't just have monetary value. They carry stories, memories, and a piece of your life's journey. When you discover the true potential value of a coin like the 1975 South African 20 cents, it's more than a financial revelation. It's a moment of pride and discovery. And speaking of value, let's be honest, we all like a little excitement when it comes to collectibles. There's a reason auctions, coin shows, and private collectors pay attention to coins from this era. When a coin is in excellent condition, with verified authenticity, and comes from a year with historical significance, the value can be staggering. This isn't just about a few dollars here and there. It's about a piece that could command tens of thousands, even reaching levels that most people would never expect at a show. What's the takeaway here? If you find yourself with a 1975 South African 20 cents coin, don't just tuck it away. Check its condition, preserve it, and consider getting an appraisal from a reputable source. This coin isn't just currency. It's a story, a connection to the past, and potentially a significant investment. The journey from something ordinary to something extraordinary often starts with curiosity and a little knowledge. For men who grew up in an era when coins like this were everyday objects, rediscovering them can be a thrilling experience. It's not just about money. It's about history, nostalgia, and the pride of uncovering something rare that others might overlook. And the best part? You don't have to wait for the next big auction or a friend to tell you its worth. You can learn, explore, and appreciate it today. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. The 1975 South African 20 cents coin, if it's in excellent condition and verified for collectors, has been known to reach a value that can astonish even seasoned enthusiasts, up to $100,000. Yes, a small coin from half a century ago could represent a life-changing amount. It's a perfect reminder that sometimes treasures are hiding in plain sight, right in our own homes.so. Next time you're going through old drawers, wallets, or collections, remember, that unassuming coin might just be worth more than you ever imagined. And if you enjoyed this dive into the hidden stories behind coins, make sure you stay subscribed, because there are countless other treasures waiting to be uncovered, stories that could change the way you see everyday objects forever. Imagine holding a slender silver-toned disc that once passed through countless hands, bridging past and present with every glint in the light. That is the story behind the 1971 South African 20 cents coin. A small piece, yet one that carries echoes of history, design, national identity, and the unending allure of rare collectibles. Back in 1971, South Africa was amidst its era of decimal currency, and the 20 cents coin was a familiar everyday piece. Made of nickel, it weighed about 6 grams and measured 24.2 millimeters across, with a smooth, unadorned edge. Munstuck International Coins Plus One. Its surface tells two stories at once. One side bearing the national coat of arms, the other side featuring the King Protea, the striking floral emblem native to the land. Online Coin Club Plus 2. Munstuck International Coins Plus 2 around the coat of arms. The legends SUID Africa and South Africa bracket the date 1971, while the designer's initials TS for Tommy Sassine rest beneath. Online Coin Club Plus 2. Last Dodo Plus 2 on the reverse, tucked beside the petals. The numeric 20 marks its face value, with the same designer's initials. Online Coin Club Plus 1. In its day, the coin was common currency, circulating widely across markets, shops, street vendors, and pocket change. It was minted in large numbers. About 5,893,000 pieces were struck in 1971. Ferronum Plus 2. Last Dodo Plus 2. That kind of mintage ensured many entered general circulation, and over time, many were lost, damaged, or worn beyond recognition. Few survived in pristine condition. What gives a coin like this its power among collectors is not just age or metal, but condition, rarity of pristine examples, and emotional connection. A coin heavily worn loses crispness and detail. The tips of the Protea's petals blur, the coat of arms shields and supporters soften, and little marks and scratches mar its shine. But one in nearly mint or uncirculated state can still reflect crisp engraving, sharp edges, and strong visual contrast between relief and field. Even though most examples today are found in grades of fine, very fine, or extra fine, that does not erase their fascination. Collectors study toning, surface luster, strike quality, and how evenly the metal aged. But their modest value in typical grades also makes them accessible to many. In auction records and reference catalogs, values for normal circulated condition often range from a few cents to $1 or $2, far from astronomical. Ferronum Plus 2. Ferronum Plus 2 1 listing for a collector shop offered a 1971 nickel 20 cents coin for about €6, roughly USD 6 to 7, in solid condition. V-Coins Plus 2. V-Coins Plus 2. These modest prices reflect how plentiful specimens remain, especially in non-perfect condition. Still, the dream for many collectors is the elusive specimen that seems untouched by time. Full mint luster, no contact marks, flawless strike, perfect surfaces. Such coins are rare in existence, and their scarcity raises hearts. When the right coin surfaces in an auction, whispers stir in numismatic circles. The idea of a seemingly ordinary coin fetching a wildly outsized price captures the imagination. After all, the numismatic world once saw ordinary coins fetch extraordinary sums because of condition, provenance, or error. In creating a script or video around this coin, one must guide the listener's journey. Start with its design, weave in its era and daily use, then lift into the aspirational side of numismatics. The possibility that a simple coin might one day be regarded as priceless. Paint a picture of someone discovering it tucked away in a dusty box or in a small antique shop drawer and realizing what others might have overlooked. Keep listeners engaged. Call attention to the visual details. The fine lines on the Protea petals, the graceful curves in the scrollwork of the coat of arms, the way light dances off the nickel surface when tilted just so. Point out how subtle differences in mint quality, toning, or surface condition can dramatically shift a coin's appeal to a collector. You might even suggest your viewers imagine how many hands, pockets, counters, and cash drawers this coin passed through in the 1970s, 80s, and beyond, each leaving behind a whisper of wear.